Just another day of Harvest 2019. And more snow. The dryer just shut down a few minutes ago. I'm guessing because we are out of corn, out of wet grain. And of course, our 10% chance of snow is holding true to 2019 statistics. It snows and rains even when there's no chance of it. Thunder. We've decided to bust into the field right around home today, since this is where we're at, and just get busy here, get the grain dryer moving instead of tinkering around and heading 5 miles south. And now the sun even comes out. It's gonna be a good day. It's a long ways from great, but it's a lot better than what we were harvesting last night, where it was flat on the ground completely. Look at that May West stock stomper slide right over the ice. Yeah, it keeps picking up a little bit. It's not cool that it's this way, but it's kind of fun to watch. It looks like it's cold enough that it's not melting, which is a good sign. But I'm gonna get out and check some stuff before more snow gets here, because I can see it coming, and I'll show you guys what we need to look at and what the problem is. Back here in the cleaning area, we've got the sieves. It doesn't look too bad right now. What can happen is these sieves will start to plug up with snow and wet material. Once those sieves start to plug up, we have a real hard time separating the kernels that we need from the rest of the plant material coming through the combine, because the kernels need to fall down through those sieves while the cleaning fan blows the rest of the material out the back. So once those are plugged up, we have a pretty hard time capturing the grain. — 2019 summed up right here. At least I'm cruising right along here. Josh, you want to explain it?
Well, we got a bunch of snow coming down here. It's all starting to get into the combine here. It's building up an ice dam.
It's building up an ice dam right in front of the feeder house right here, which is the reason the cobs won't feed in. So I checked on the sieves again. They're not looking great. Look at that. Must be a Pioneer cob. Got in there somehow. Well, with that built up in front of the feeder house and the sieves being just bad enough that I know they're not going to go much longer, so there's no point in continuing to go here, because we're going to make the sieves bad in a hurry if we keep trying to go. So we're going to unload right here and just drive back to the yard, get this thing in the shop, let that thaw out. It's unfortunate. Again, 50 acres a day seems to be the only thing that we're going to get here. Heck. Well, we're hoping that it actually gets cold enough in the next few hours here that we'll be able to go again, because the snow isn't going to be sticky. It'll be frozen all the way. But we've got the NIPCO going right now, or the propane and kerosene heater here. This is a new one. We've never seen this before, to build these ice ridges up like this behind the auger. There's part of it. We drove around and looked at some of the fields for a bit. We did find some of our corn 5 miles south of here that doesn't have snow on it. It did not snow down there, but by the time we'd get down there and get moving, it'd be late. So what our plan is to hope that it gets cold enough here in the next couple of hours that we can go out and harvest on the corn right here at home to finish that field. We've actually got a different header coming tonight and in the morning, hopefully, to try and work on that down corn, which is south of here. So we want to stick around and have the combine in the shop tonight and hope that we can get that other header going tomorrow morning. So I'm gonna go in, eat some pizza with the kids. We'll see what we get here. We never did get back out into the field last night. The combine was so wet we were a little nervous that it wasn't gonna work. So we decided to leave it in the shop and let it dry out overnight rather than create more problems that we didn't have at the time. And boy, is it cold this morning. It's currently 17 degrees according to my phone. Hopefully we're gonna knock some corn out today. Jim, you got mud all over our floor. Well, it didn't take long of corn harvest for this place to become a disaster. Look at that. I'm gonna run everything here for a minute or two to try and clear everything out in case there's any water sitting anywhere, in any bearings or in the chains or anywhere really. Hopefully that clears the water out so that we don't have a freezing issue later today, because we know it's cold out, so any water that is left in here is either gonna freeze or have to get thrown out the back as the material comes through. What we have here is a 12-row folding Capello header that is supposed to help us pick up our down corn. We're gonna test it out, see how it works. We've got a brand new Capello 12-row 30 out here in the field. We had Jason set it up and ride in here with me. Then we kicked him out and we got territory sales rep Brian. How we doing? In here with me. Brian, you wanna give us a quick rundown on what we're doing here, why we got this head out here?
Yeah, so Mr. Millennial Farmer got a hold of me and had some issues with some down corn.
Well, I don't know who got a hold of who. We drank beer together in Texas.
That's right, that's right.
Yeah.
I guess this all started 9 months ago in Texas.
With a couple beers.
Other stories start like that too. 9 months ago with beer.
A lot of stories start that way. Well, now I kicked Brian out and I'm left all alone to run this header. We'll see how it goes. Got 23 in the grain cart. Look at the tracks on that grain cart. You can see the treads on it. It's frozen enough out this morning. That is the first time I've seen the treads on that grain cart since they delivered it brand new. As cold as it is out, it's actually going really nice because we don't have to fight the mud near as much because the top 1/4 inch of the ground is frozen solid, so it's really stiff. You drive right over the top of it. We're not picking up a bunch of mud. We got Jim out running the ripper, so we're getting tillage done too. That's going well. He's not fighting the mud so bad. It actually works really well at this point. The trouble is, it's supposed to get cold enough tonight that I don't know if we have more than a day or two left of tillage before it's froze down an inch, 2 inches, maybe 3 inches, and at that, you definitely can't run any tillage. You can drive on it and do this. It's gonna be rough, but tillage is gonna be a no-go. I've been temporarily kicked out because Dad wants to run that thing and see what it does. So I left him a bunch of end rows here, so he'll have fun doing that. I didn't do it on purpose, it's just the way the timing worked out. Oftentimes it works out the opposite way. It's a cool time of year when you can look around the countryside and see grain dryers steaming off in the distance everywhere. Jim needed a little go-go juice, had to run back to the yard. Looks like everything with the dryer is pretty close to where we want it. Make sure nothing's too out of whack here. That one's been dancing around a bit. Not crazy. All looking good. We have too many guys right now. I don't know what to do. You okay? Hey, you all right? Sounds like we're having some issues plugging some of these rows up, but we are running really close to the ground to try and pick everything up that is down. So we're gonna lower the snouts a couple inches so that hopefully we can run the back of the header up a little higher, which leaves more room for chopping. We'll be taking in less stock material and hopefully not plug these up anymore. So what we've got to do here is break that bolt loose and that bolt loose. Pretty simple to do. And then we work the snouts down a little lower. I've got that one set lower. You can see it's about 2 inches lower. We're gonna go through and do that to all of them. Snouts are adjusted. We're gonna make a quick driver change and off we go. Onyx, did you see anything on your trail cam?
No.
Not a thing. All kinds of deer trails, deer tracks, and deer scrapes, and no pictures of deer.
No.
Getting awfully dark out here. There we go. Oh! I've got good news in 3 different ways. Number one, I think I figured out the biggest issue with why we were plugging the rows on this head, and I don't think it was with the height, but we actually had the feeder house down into first gear. I don't know if it got bumped or what, so I sped the feeder house up to second gear, more RPM to move the material through faster, and now I'm not having an issue. So we got that figured out. Second thing is, this corn was planted May 7th, which was earlier than most of our corn, some of our earliest planted stuff, and it is yielding tremendously compared to everything else, and it's standing way, way better. This is much healthier corn and about 50 bushels better. So, unbelievable difference. This is good corn versus most everything else that we have. So planting date, again, is just huge in this area. Third thing, there's an all-new Off the Husk podcast that came out just this morning, and it's awesome. We had our neighbor up the road, Greg Sabolic, who is a dairy farmer and loves what he does, very passionate about what he does. He came and sat down on the podcast with me, Randy the Master Pipe Layer, and Mrs. Millennial Farmer, and we talked about everything. There was a good mix of humor and laughter mixed with serious talk about dairy farming, and I loved it. It's my favorite episode of the podcast so far. Of course, brought to you by Farmers Business Network. Check it out. You can get it wherever you listen to your podcast. And thank you to America's dairy farmers for all the extremely hard work that they do to give us our dairy products. Shameless plug. You know, when I'm out in the field like this, you can't see the grain dryer. And I know Dad's not home right now because he's waiting in the truck. So it'd be nice to have a way to check on the grain dryer and make sure the pipes hadn't come apart and it's coming out at the right moisture. Oh, that's right. Dakota Micro came and installed a bunch of cameras for us. So now I can look at everything from the monitor system to the exchanger. I can see the dryer running down there. It's all so simple. Making it grain. Not dinosaur bones, but you know, like plankton and algae. Man, has that fuel trailer been awesome. Not just because it actually pumps faster than our actual diesel barrel, but it goes awesome down the road, and when it gets this cold, our actual diesel barrel freezes up, so our nozzle doesn't even work when it's this cold. But the diesel, the tank does, the trailer, it works. It's awesome. You better hurry, it's good corn over here. Over here. It's about 11 o'clock. Oh, I'm full. We lost our truck driver. Josh is over in the yard dumping a truck so we can have an empty grain cart, keep going for a bit yet. Figure I'd hop out, see what kind of job we're doing. I'd say we're looking pretty good. Now I just need an empty cart. I sure do love watching grain dryers at night. Yeah, I'm all finished up, but there's still 2.5 minutes of the Off the Husk podcast left, and it's too good to quit.
It's a cool, like, hidden gem.
We have never had a folding header before, but it's really cold tonight. We're going to want the combine in the shop for sure, and rather than just driving into this north door where it fits, why not fold it up and go through the west doors where we normally prefer to take things? Because I have a folding header. How neat is that?